What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful fight fans across the world? And in this video, we're gonna, before I get into that, Jon Jones fight week is coming up. I have a big test coming up also, but Jon Jones fight week is coming up, so I gotta milk the shit out of this fight week. Okay, I've been waiting to make this video and I'll tell you guys right now why. Because I've always had this question. We always talk about the GOAT debate. Who ranks higher than who has the better resume than who. But some people, you hear them talk about the GOAT debate, they're like, oh, Jon Jones is not in my GOAT debate because he took steroids, he's a fraud. So I have a genuine question right now. Go to the comments right now before you even watch this video and tell me if somebody has taken steroids in their career and popped for them anytime, not just steroids. Steroids is a buzzword. I'm talking about any performance-enhancing drugs, because people do not only take steroids in MMA. They take all types of performance-enhancing drugs, like EPO, like a bunch of stuff. But if they have taken that, do they still count towards your GOAT legacy? Do you think those people deserve spots in the top 10, in the top 15, in anywhere, in any ranking? Because, we're going to get into it now. So, Jon Jones, because I genuinely don't know, because I go back and forth. I feel like if you pop, no, I think everybody's resume, I think it matters. Okay, I think it matters, because you know what else I think? I think that a majority of UFC fighters are taking some type of performance-enhancing drugs. I know that's bad to say. Is that a bad thing to say? I don't know. But I feel like they are. I feel like it is being regulated now. It's better because of, they have drug testing agencies and stuff. Back in the days, we had TRT Belfort and such. But, people love to glaze Jon Jones' career, even though he tested positive. How many times? A couple of times, 2-3 times in his whole career. And he's been stripped from the title because of it. In his second DC win went to a no contest because he literally tested positive for drugs, and that's one of his best wins on his resume. That's his best win on his resume, the second DC win, because he finished DC. But does it even count anymore because he took he popped for PEDs right after? I don't know. I'm genuinely curious what you guys think, because I have no idea. I can't even answer this question. But we're going to talk about the hypocrisy of the MMA fans, because somebody like TJ Dillashaw gets absolutely ridiculed. Everybody hates him because, he tested positive for EPO in his fight against Henry Cejudo when he went down to flyweight. So, yeah, his career doesn't count. Nothing he does counts. Nothing he does matters, because, he tested positive for doing EPO, man. He's an EPO abuser. Okay, he's a drug abuser. None of his wins count. But when we talk about guys like Jon Jones, when we talk about guys like Anderson Silva, oh no, he's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT. All right, don't talk about him. He's sacred. But we can't talk about how TJ Dillashaw popped. Jon Jones has popped more than TJ Dillashaw, but TJ Dillashaw gets way more hate than the MMA community for it. People in the MMA community don't even count TJ Dillashaw's wins because of this, which is horrible. But we're going to get into some of the greatest fighters that have popped for steroids. Okay? Right now, I talked about it already, though. Anderson Silva, in 2015, he tested positive for adrosterone metabolites on January 9th. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like a steroid because it ends in alone. It's probably a steroid, but, some of the GOATs of the sport have tested positive. Somebody else who's tested positive that I love, but that's one of the current GOATs right now, could go on his way to be the GOAT of the sport, the way his career is going right now. Islam Makhachev, he tested positive for drugs in 2016, 8 years ago, and they were talking about how they were getting vitamins from the Russian government. I don't know. So I'm genuinely curious, because people like TJ Dillashaw, people love to clown on them. People love to hate on them. But when it comes to Anderson Silva, when it comes to Islam Makhachev, when it comes to Jon Jones, everybody just turns the blind eye. For those guys' resumes. But when it comes to guys like TJ Dillashaw, we're like, oh no, his wins don't count. He tested positive for EPO. He tested positive for drugs. None of that counts. It's It's hypocritical, man. It's hypocritical. Either we don't count anybody who's tested positive for anything, or we count them all. And in my opinion, I feel like we should count them all, because I feel like a majority of the guys are on steroids. But the real GOAT of the sport, Chael Sonnen, he also tested positive for drugs. The actual GOAT of the sport. So does Chael Sonnen still the GOAT? Is he still the GOAT of the sport? Because he tested positive for drugs also. And it was literally in his loss to Anderson Silva too. So we had two juice heads in there going at it now. Okay, let me chill. But even though you don't test positive for drugs, okay, there's clear signs that some UFC fighters are taking them. Okay, there's some clear signs. We got Daniel Cormier in his fight having level 7,000 testosterone levels, 7,000. Oh my God, deciliters, nanograms of that. I don't know how you say it, but 7,000 testosterone level, and the normal range is like what, 300 to 500. 7,000 in his sample, and that was already talked about by More Plates, More Dates. Alright, he already talked about that, so I'm not throwing out any new claims out there. This is already stuff that's already out there, so don't come for me. Don't come for my body. I just want to talk about it. Does it ruin your legacy? I don't think it does, because I feel like a majority of them guys are. When you want to go talk about Israel Adesanya, the gyno bender, he literally has an extra boob hanging out. So, do those wins not count? Like, that's extreme gyno. That's obviously signs of some type of PED abuse. You don't get that from puffing a little Zaza, okay? That doesn't happen from puffing the Za. Maybe it does. Maybe, I don't know. But, come on, man. Come on. You don't get that type of gyno from puffing a little Zaza? Come on. All right? But, seriously, guys. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that your wins don't matter if you test positive for performance-enhancing drugs of any? Because I seriously don't know. I feel like it does, because everybody wants to put Anderson Silva, Islam, Jon Jones in their list, but we can't talk about how TJ Dillashaw is one of the best bantamweights of all time. It's just hypocritical. I just want either we don't count any of them, or we have to count all of them. That's all I'm saying. That's my opinion. I feel like we have to count all of them, because I feel like a majority of these guys are on steroids. Okay? There's definitely some guys out there that are doing it natty. So shout out to them. If you're a UFC fighter and you're doing it 100% natty, you're a beast. You're a real beast. Because there's guys coming into the cage with you that are definitely juiced up, that are definitely on some type of performance-enhancing drugs, and you're going like head to head with those guys in a sport, which is crazy. Physically, one of the, literally the most physically tasking sport in the world. And, if this was basketball, if this was football, if this was baseball, any other sport, I feel like PEDs should be allowed. PEDs, you use as much as juice you want, but when it's fighting, when two people are going at it, and people's lives are at stake, people's severe injuries are at stake, I don't think you should just be allowed to abuse PEDs as much as you can, because there's some real effects of that. TRT Belfort took Michael Bisping's goddamn eye because he was so juiced up. Okay, there's some residual effects of people taking steroids. Back in the day, if you asked me this, I would have been like, yeah, let them all juice up, but it's not safe. Okay, it's not safe, because people actually get hurt in the UFC, and if you push people to the absolute human limits, I don't know how good that would look. I don't know if that would be a good representation of the sport, but these are just some food for thought. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that steroids should be allowed? Do you think that steroids affect your legacy? I feel like they affect your legacy, but I don't feel like that takes you out of any GOAT debate. But that's it for this video. Let me know down below what you guys think, but leave a like, subscribe. I'm dropping videos like this almost every single day, man, so turn the notifications on, and I'll see you, beautiful people, in the next one, man.